Hello dear students, in this video I'm going to explain chapter 4 lesson 6 probability page 158. Okay, we have some vocabularies: experiment, trial, outcome, sample space, event, probability, impossible and certain. An experiment, okay, is an activity in which results are observed. Each observation is called a trial and each result is called an outcomes. Okay, the sample space is the set of all possible outcomes of an experiment. For example, an experiment, we have flipping a coin. The sample space of a coin, it's what it's head and tail. But the sample space of a cube or a dice, it is 1 till 6. Okay? And here we have an event as any sets of one or more outcomes. Then we have the probability. We have 0% and 100%. 0%, a probability of 0 means that the event it's impossible or can never happen. A probability of 1 means the event is certain or has to happen. Then we have another note. The probability of all outcomes in the sample space add up to 1. Let's see, the first case is about finding probability of outcomes in the sample space. The weather forecast shows a 30% of chance of snow. What's the probability of not snow? So, what's the complement of 30%? Of course, it's 70%. Okay? Sorry, it is 70%. This is 70%. What about if I change to decimal? 70%. If I change to decimal, it will be 0.7. Okay, then another case, we have give the probability of each outcomes. As you can see, we have a spinner. We have 4 parts. They ask for what? The probability of red. We have an important note. In probability, you have to write the answer in simplest form always. Okay, and we have another note. At least, it's very important. At least means the number and more, okay? And at most means the number and less. Let's see. They ask for what? What's the probability of red? As you can see here, we have 2 parts of red, so it will be 2 out of 4, okay? 2 out of 4, it is in simplest form? No, of course. So, as a simplest form, it will be divided by 2. It will be 1 out of 2. Probability of yellow, as you can see here, is 1 part of yellow. So it will be 1 out of 4, and it is in simplest form. Probability of blue is the same as yellow. So it will be 1 out of 4. Okay, when you add them all, equals to 1. Then we have a table. A quiz contains 3 multiple choice questions and 2 true-false questions. Suppose you guess randomly on every question. The table below gives the probability of each score. Question A. What is the probability of guessing 4 or more correct? 4 or more. So we will count 4 and more than 4. We will say probability of 4 plus probability of 5, because they say what? The question says 4 or more. We will say 0.043 plus 0.004, which is equals to, when you add them, 0.047. As a percent, you have to multiply it by 100. So move 2 digits to the right. It will be, multiply this number by 100, 2 digits to the right. Then it will be 4.7%. Question B. What is the probability of guessing fewer than 3 correct? Fewer than 3. Can I count 3? No. They say fewer than 3. So we will say probability 0 plus probability 1 plus probability 2 plus probability 3. Okay? Probability 0, fewer than 3. We can't count 3. Okay? Probability fewer than 3, it is only 0, 1 and 2. When you add them all, it will be 0.773. How you can change this one to percent? Multiply by 100, 2 digits to the right, so it will be 77.3%. C. What is the probability of failing the quiz getting 0, 1, 2, or 3? Correct by guessing. So you have to add what? 0, 1, 2, and 3 together. When you add them, it will be 0.953 or 95.3 as a percent. Okay? Now we have the weather forecast calls for a 60% chance of rain. So the rain is 60%. As a decimal, it will be 0.6. Okay? What is the probability of not rain? What's the complement of 60%? It is 40%. As a decimal, it will be 0.4. Okay? Again, you have a table. A game consists of randomly selecting full colored cubes from the container and counting the number of green cubes. The table gives the probability of each outcome. Let's see. Question 2. Question 2. What is the probability of selecting at most one? As I told you, at most meaning the number and less. So at most one and less than 1. We will say probability 1 plus probability 0. Okay? Probability 1, then probability 0. When you add them, it will be 0.291. At 0.248 plus 0.043, it will be 0.291. Then question 3. What is the probability of selecting more than 1? Okay, this is very clear. More than 1, so you can't count 1. It will be probability 2, probability 3, and probability 4. At probability 2, more than 1, it's 2. Probability 3 plus probability 4. Add them is equals to 0.709. Okay. Again, we have a spinner. Probability of what? Of red. Red is what? As you can see here, we have 2 parts of red. 2 out of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 out of 6, it is in simplest form. No, divided by 2, it will be 1 out of 3. Probability blue, same as red. There's 2 parts. Out of 6, as a simplest form, it will be 1 out of 3. Probability yellow, it's 1 out of 6. Probability green, again, it's 1 out of 6, and it is in simplest form. Okay? Then question 5, they ask for what? What is the probability that at least 2 toppings are ordered? For question 5, you have to say at least. At least what? At least 2. So what's the meaning of at least 2? The number and more. So we will say probability 2 plus probability 3 plus probability 4 plus probability 5. Okay, because they say what? At least 2, meaning the number and more. Okay, so when you add them all, probably it will be 0.490. And as you know, 0 after decimal has no value, so it will be 0.49. Okay. Then we have what? What is the probability then fewer than 3? Even this one is very clear. Fewer than 3, you can't count 3. So fewer than 3 is what? 0, 1, and 2. When you add them all, it will be 0.720. Again, 0 has no value, so it will be 0.72. Question 9. How can you estimate that a head appears from tossing a coin 1 times? What's the probability of a coin? It's head and tail, right? So what's the probability of head? It's 1 out of 2. Okay. Here we have a table shows the probability of each number show shown after the rolling a number cube. The probability of a cube, it's what? Or a dice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For each one, what's the probability for 2? It's 1 out of 6. Probability of 4, still 1 out of 6. Now they ask for what? Find the probability for each event. Probability of even number. How many even numbers we have? Look at here. We have 2, probability 2, probability 4, then probability 6. It will be 1 out of 3, 1 out of 6, plus 1 out of 6, plus 1 out of 6, which is equals to 3 out of 6. 3 out of 6 is in simplest form? No, it's equals to 1 out of 2. For B, probability less than 5. Okay, less than 5. Can I count 5? No, because there is no equal sign next to here. That's why we can't count 5. Less than 5 is probability 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is equals to 4 out of 6. It is in simplest form. No, it will be divided by 2. It will be 2 out of 3. Probability not 6. All of them except 6. It will be probability 1 plus probability 2 plus probability 3 plus 4 plus 5. So it's 5 out of 6 and it is in simplest form. Okay. Again, we have a table. Probability A, C, or E. So I'm gonna add what? A, C, then E. Okay, when I add them all, it will be 0.885. Then the second one, okay, probability of what? B or D. B or D. Add them all, it's still 0.115. Why? Because B is 0. Probability 14, A is not occurring. So all of them except A. I'm going to add all of them except A, because they say A is not occurring. When you add them all, it will be 0.694. Then A, B, D, or E. I'm going to add what? Probability A, probability B, probability D, probability E. So all of them except C. When I add them, it will be 0.784. Okay, so just pay attention about at least and at more. At least meaning the number and more. At most meaning the number and less. Okay. Question 21. We have probability of 30%. Okay, rain tomorrow. What's the probability of not rain? Pay attention. What's the complement of 30%? It is 70%. As a percent, as a decimal, it's 0.7. Check the multiple choice. Which one is appear here? As you can see here, we have 0.7. We have 70, but it is without, okay, the symbol of percent. That's why this one is not correct. So it will be 0.7. Question 22. We have what? 84. 100 minus 84, it will be 16. Okay, out of 100. Then use the simplify, it will be 4 out of 25 divided by 4. Now question 23. Which kind of graph would you use to show the evolution of the product of two cars company during 10 years? Okay, you have what? You have time. So directly you know which one is correct. Double line graph is the correct answer. Let's solve some national questions about this topic. Okay. For example, question 1. The weather forecast shows 10% chance of snow. Okay, what's the other one? This one, it will be 0.1. So what's the opposite? What's the complement of 0.1? It's 0.9. Question 2. Now you have 75%. So it will be 25. Okay, 0.25. Why 25 is not correct? Because there is no percent, the symbol of percent. Okay, that's why 25 is not correct. 0.25 is correct. Question 3. Now you have the multiple choice as a percent. 40%. So the complement of 40% Probability of rain, it's 40%. What's the probability of not rain? It is 60%. Okay, again, 80% of running, what's the winning? What's the probability of not winning? It's 0.2 or 20%. But there's no percent. Again, that's why we can't choose 20. What's the probability of 0? We know it's impossible. Still, what's the probability of certain? It's 100%. Okay. Now, what's the probability of all outcomes in the sample space? It's up to what? It's up to 1. Now, in this question we have what? The probability of the garbage will be recycled in the city is 1 out of 5. Find the probability of not recycled. 1 out of 5 equals to what as a decimal? Equals to 0.2. Okay, 0.2 as a percent is what? 20%. Because multiplied by 100, it will be 20%. What's the complement of 20%? It is 100%. Okay. Now we have 5 students are training for a school. Hardy has 0.30 chance. What's the probability? Okay, sorry, he will half of Hardy. So what's the half of 0.30? It's 0.50. Okay. Thank you for watching. Good luck.